Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. On this episode, I know I said it was burned down in the Pacific Theater, but I guess I fibbed a little bit. Because on this episode, we're going to take a look at Victory Points games We Must Tell the Emperor, designed by Steve Carey, part of the States of Siege system that Victory Point game has, including a boatload of games in that system, of which I have quite a few. Dawn of the Zeds, Israeli Independence, the Russian Revolution one, the name escapes me for the moment, Malta Besieged, Empires in America, The Lost Cause. I have about 6 or 7 of them all together. I like them as nice fillers, and I'm using this as kind of a filler while I'm waiting for Storm in the East to show up. Now, I know last episode I mentioned something about the Confederate Rebellion, and I did play it last night, and I was just kind of like, well, to quote Harry Shapiro, when the Geneva man asked him if they were being treated okay in Stalin 17 at the prison camp, Harry Shapiro was like, "I like it here." So it's kind of the way I felt. I think I know this might be sacrilege to some of you, but I think I just don't care much about the American Civil War anymore, as far as the gaming thing goes. What can I tell you? So I decided to go ahead and play over this game as a filler, because supposedly my package will be here tomorrow, and there's only an 8-page rulebook with that game, so I should be able to rip through that no sweat and unleash it, and then share it with you after I get some plays under my belt. In the meantime, I thought I'd take you along for this ride. This is a game that is very tough to win. The best I have ever done in this game was earlier this year. The Allies occupied Japan when I only had 3 cards left in the late war deck. Compliments of my 2-year-old, because he was doing all the die rolling on the dice tower. Yes, trying to get him into it. And apparently it's being successful, because today when he was at his summer camp program, they had these big foam dice, and he went straight to the foam dice and started rolling them. Basically, throwing them to roll them. So I think I have a little war gamer in the making. So anyway, let's get down to the situation here. And I'm going to go ahead and play. For this opening video, I've decided I'm going to break the videos, make 3 videos, one for early war, and then one for mid-war, and then we'll see where we're at the end of mid-war, and if we need a 3rd one for late war, I'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, those of you familiar with the States of Siege system, this will all look familiar to here, but let me zoom in a little bit. You have the tracks that begin way out on the edges of places, like over here. Nimitz begins on this track, which starts at number 9, and snakes its way all the way up to Japan. If any of the Allied armies get there, you're toast. If your resources in this game, which you have 3, you have oil, prestige, and Army-Navy resources. If they all reach 0, you have total collapse. You're toast. Okay, there's a lot of things here that can happen that can cause you to be toast. So basically, each game turn is pretty fast and furious, to be honest. Once you get the hang of this system, it's pretty easy. So let's go ahead and let's just dive right in, as always. And here we go. So I'm going to come back a little bit out so you can see also, hopefully see the card that is happening here. Now, in the game, you begin with set cards, and then you kind of move your way randomly through cards after that. So let me zoom in here on our first card about Pearl Harbor. Alright. Come out a little bit. I said come out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so each one, you have different sections of the card. This one here, military, tells you which one of the fronts move, if any do. Down here, these are things that can happen to your resources. So here, as you can see, I gain 1 prestige, woohoo, but I lose an oil. Oh, okay. And then you have orders. Orders are basically, you get between 1 and 4 actions every single turn to spend. You can use the actions to fight the Allied fronts. There are the Chinese front, the British, MacArthur, the Dutch front, and the front with Nimitz, the Marines, if you will, the Central Pacific front as well. Or you can use them to increase your resources, try and bump them up each time through. as well. You can also later in the game use them to try and fortify islands if and when those fortifications become available. Now this one here says see the battle table because since this is Pearl Harbor, the Pearl Harbor raid, we have a battle table. Now the battle table, which, oh, why am I having trouble with the button today? I don't know, is over here. So let's zoom in on Pearl Harbor. And first of all, the battle table tells you, there we go, let's come out a little tiny bit, there we go. First of all, the battle table tells you how many actions you have. You have 2. Now one of the things I like to do is, I like to just take dice and put them in front of me so I know how many actions I have, and then I move them elsewhere to show that I've actually used them. So that way I remember. Nice little easy device there. So I have 2 actions. Now with the battle table, it's up to me. I can go ahead and roll on the battle table, or I can do any one of these other actions if I wish. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Pearl Harbor raid. For my first action, I'm going to roll a die. And I rolled a 1. So retreat Nimitz unit to the west coast space. Woohoo! So that is the best possible start from that perspective there. Okay. Now, why do I say that? Well, let me show you here. Let me zoom back out. Over here. Now, let's see Mr. Nimitz. There he is. Now, see that red box there? That is the last box on the track. This will now allow me in the future to unleash what's called a knockout blow. When you drive the Allied units back to their red boxes, with the exception of the Dutch, you can try a knockout blow. A knockout blow takes them completely off the map. If you can do that to 3 of the 4 Allied fronts in the game, you win a military victory right then and there. I really wish I'd have recorded my warm-up game. I already played one game of this. In my warm-up game, I had knocked out both the British and MacArthur before the early war cards were gone. I was like, sweet! But, yeah, I ultimately lost the game because, you know, I mean, as the Allies cranked up their resources, things got very difficult for the Japanese. But that's a good step in the right direction. Now, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go up here and roll for my Army Navy guys here. Because I'm doing this because if I get them to this spot on the track, I will get a +1 modifier to all my attacks until that marker gets knocked back down to the 5 box or less. So long as it's early war. When early war is over, you don't get that modifier at all, no matter how high you take that to. Now, in order to do that, I got to roll a die. And I just basically, this is what makes the States of Siege game so quick and fast and fun and furious is, you can see there's a 3. I just have to roll a die and compare. If the number is higher than the number that's printed on the counter, whatever it happens to be, like Nimitz had a 3 on him, you are successful. So in this case, I will move it up and flip it, and woohoo! Now I'm in the elite status. I get +1 to all my attacks until that gets knocked down. So that is the best possible start. Which, by the way, just my own little strategy tip here, I highly recommend you do that at the beginning of the game, because when you're attacking, you're really, really, really going to need that to get some successful attacks at the beginning. Otherwise, battles mostly are a 50-50 proposition, because most of the Allied front markers have a 3 on them. And of course, that means you need a 4, 5, or 6 to be successful. Okay, so quite frankly, the Pearl Harbor raid ended up being about as successful as it possibly could be. So, what a great start to the game. Awesome. Alright. Now, when you're done doing all your actions, then you go ahead and you do what's your cleanup. Oh, I forgot. I always forget what the Pearl Harbor card. Another thing that can happen here, let me just zoom in again to most of the time will happen, quite frankly, is that you'll have the card direct die roll modifier markers, and you just put them on top of the front. So you can see here, there should have been a -1 die roll modifier on the Dutch front down there, the ABDA front, and that would have been a -1 modifier to any attack that I initiated against them here on this turn, now just for this turn. Now at this point in the turn, this is where you do your housekeeping, check for Japanese defeat, no worries about there, refresh the map, which basically means go ahead and pull off any of the die roll modifier markers, and check for oil flow and production, which basically what that is if you get the oil, let me see if I can do this without having to zoom around and I can just lift it. If you can get the oil all the way up to the number 6 track spot, you flip it and you actually get to put anywhere on the map a +1 modifier to die roll modifier for whatever marker you want to put it on, whatever front. So that's cool. All right, here we go. Next card, the capture of Hong Kong. Okay, so no military things going on. I gained another prestige. Awesome. I get 3 actions, so we'll put 3 dice down here to remind me of that. So -1 against the Dutch again, which is not good. I need to go down there and pound on the Dutch because I need that oil. Oh, sorry. If you've seen Dave Chappelle's skit, you know what I'm talking about. +1 the British and +1 for the Army Navy rolls too. Okay. All right. So usually, typically in this game, you want to use your modifiers as much as possible. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and attack the British with that +1 modifier, and that'll be my first action. So actually, it's a +2 modifier because +1 here, and I get +1 because my Army Navy is in the elite spot. Now, I rolled a 1. Now, why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because in this game, a 1 is always a failure, and a 6 is always a success. It doesn't matter if you have -500,000 die roll modifier, which of course is not possible. It's still a 6 is booyah, gotcha, in your face. A 1, even if you got +250,000 die roll modifier, a 1 is still epic fail. You blew it. So, keep that in mind with the rules. So that didn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and use my second action and try to take advantage of that +1 modifier. This time 3 + 1 is 4. That is successful because I rolled a 3, and that drives the British back further. And again, since I'm focusing here on the British, I'm just going to keep pounding away on them. But 2 + 1 is 3, so I didn't do so well in my British campaign. Okay, that's too bad. So we'll pick up the die roll modifiers here. Get them off the map. And move on. Next card. Invasion of the Philippines. So, no military movements. Nothing with the resources. I do get 3 actions, and I get +1 against MacArthur. Alright, that's good. Now, I'll probably attack MacArthur. Okay? But again, you can do anything you want. I mean, you know, it's up to you. However, I will show you this since I'm attacking MacArthur. If you look at the space where Mr. MacArthur is with the +1 modifier there, see those black lines there? That is a fortified space. So that gives the Allies a -1 die roll modifier automatically. So, in order to attack... oh, you know what? I should have pushed the British back on that last one. I had +2. I forgot about my elite. Always remember your modifiers. So, going back to MacArthur here. So, this +1 will be offset by the fortification, but I'm still going to get +1 because my guys are elite. So, I'm going to go ahead and hit MacArthur once with the opening salvo here. And it is a 2, which only takes me up to a 3. Grr. Now, the question is, do I want to keep pounding on Dugout Doug, or do I want to start getting this? Because until I do this, I can't get any oil. Let me hit MacArthur again. That's better. 4 + 1 is 5. So I drove him down to Mindanao. And I am going to take a stab here with my final action. Try to get that oil. And I did. 2 + 1 is 3, which is greater than the 2. And I drove it back. Remember, I get +1 because of my elite Army Navy status right now. Alright. I wonder if that would work out better. It might. Let me see. So we do the housekeeping. We remove all the die roll modifier markers. And next card. I shall return. So Mr. MacArthur is, yeah, you know what? I like it better on the bottom. Whoops. I think it's better on the bottom. So we'll stick with on the bottom. Alright. So there's MacArthur. So he actually retreats. So now he's fallen back to Hollandia. I pick up another prestige. Woohoo! I get 3 actions, but -1 modifier against the British and Nimitz, who's actually on the west coast, and -2 against MacArthur, but +1 for oil. But I can't roll for oil yet because I have not captured the oil fields in Java. So let's see. I better focus on that here. So let's go ahead with all 3 of my actions down there in the Dutch East Indies. So that's a 5 + 1 is a 6. There they go. Second action. a 6 down to there. Last one, and as you notice here, you can attack as much as you want on any area or spend as many actions as you want on any resource. You just keep rolling. Oh, it's a 1! Of course it is. Grr. Now remember, a 1 is always a fail. So, I pick up the markers. I want to try and get Nimitz, though. He's in the home box. That doesn't happen very often, guys. I've only had that happen a couple of times. I really, really, really want to get him. But I need that oil. Alright, next one here. Hey, invasion of the Dutch East Indies. So I gain an oil. That's good to know. I get 3 actions. +1 against the Dutch. Good. And +1 for any prestige die roll action I want. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over a knockout action here. I'm going to try and knock Nimitz out because he's in his last box. Okay. Now, a knockout action consists of the following. First of all, you have to spend 2 of your actions in order to do it. So I'm going to spend those 2 actions there. And you have to reduce your oil by 1 to do a knockout action. So knockout actions are risky. Okay. They're also risky because that red box is a -2 die roll modifier right off the bat. Okay? And you can only do 1 knockout blow per turn, which will be hard anyway because since it takes 2 actions, you rarely get 4 actions in a turn, to be honest. Okay, so -2, but +1 for my elite status. So I have -1. So in order to pull this off, I need a 5 or a 6. Because a 4 would be 4 minus 1 is 3. Here we go. Survey says, a 2. Fail. Alright. Well, it's worth the risk. If you're going to try and win this thing, it's definitely worth the risk. So I'll spend my last action, and I'll attack the Dutch East Indies. What's the agony about? Here's the agony. Look! I should have flipped it around. I should have went after the East Indies first. Alright. But the good news is, I'm going to get that oil. Yeah. Alright, so clean up. And now that the Dutch East Indies have been captured, when that happens at the end of that turn, then you go ahead and you check for the oil flow. So the oil flow has been opened up with that capture. So now I will go ahead and flip these guys to here. So now I can do my oil rolls, and now I put a brand new marker from the out of play box into play here. This oil marker, and now I'll be able to go ahead and get some oil from here on out. So that was awesome. Alright, next card. Oh, big offensive by the Chinese. So here come the Chinese. They're storming towards Manchukuo. Ooh, I lost an army prestige thing, and I lost a prestige. Yikes. But I do get the coveted 4 actions. So those are big, because you don't get those very often. Let me tell you, boys and girls. Okay, so +1 modifier, and he attacks against the Chinese front this turn. Alright, now, I am first going to spend my first action trying to bring my army prestige back up. It's a 1. I'm going to spend my second action trying to bring it up. I'm a little fanatical about this, I admit. It's a 4, which is higher than 3. Good. Now, I will go after the Chinese, because now I'll have +1, +1, +2. It's a 1. Of course it is. Let's go after the Chinese front again. That's better. 5. But see, I'm wasting those prestige ones when I should be trying to hit Nimitz and knock him out. Mama said, knock you out. Sorry. I mean, that's, that's pretty much what's in here. Okay, so again, and again, there's stuff here I'm sure you can see. I'm skipping some things. Like, obviously, Japan's not defeated. I don't have to worry about that. Refreshing the map. And oil flow production, we're fine. But I'm not getting the oil bonus yet so far. Okay, whoops, that card fell on me, so to speak. Alright, here we go. The Battle of the Coral Sea. Dang it! See, look, I missed my chance. Here comes Nimitz. Curses! Oh, and I lose military. I lose prestige. I lose oil. What the? All right, battle table. We got to see the battle table. So -1 against the Dutch, but they're not hanging around anymore. And -1 against Nimitz. All right, so now according to the Coral Sea battle table, I get 3 actions. Uno, dos, tres. And now it's up to me. I can always roll in the battle table, but you can never do any re-rolls. No die roll modifiers ever affect the battle table. I'm going to go for it. Now the irony is the battle table is the one time in this game you want to roll low, because the lower the better on the battle tables. So here we go. Hey, it's a 1. So this time those 1s come in handy. So my first action on the battle table, and a 1 gives me 1 prestige. Woohoo! And Nimitz has to retreat, which puts him back to the west coast again. But he does have a -1 modifier. Curses! Alright. Alright, I'm going to try and bring up the Army and Navy prestige again. Yes, it's a 6. Cool. Shoot! There goes that 6 again. Man, as Napoleon said, timing is everything. Alright, where should I go next here now? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to push MacArthur down. +1 modifier for my last action. 5 + 1 is 6. So back goes Doug. Now remember, I only had 1 action left. That's why I couldn't go after Nimitz, because you require 2 actions and oil to attempt a knockout blow. Alright, so again, Japan's not defeated. Clearly, we refreshed the map. Bye-bye Coral Sea card. Hello! U.S. carrier raids. Dang it! Nimitz has come back. And I lose a prestige. Curses. I get 3 actions. -1 against Nimitz. And -1 for oil. Well, that's not very nice. Okay. Let's see here now. I got +1 still with my military, but I'm a little worried about my prestige. So the first action, I'm going to try and bring my prestige up. And it's a 1. Okay. Alright, so my second one, I'm going to go ahead and try to attack... I'm going to attack MacArthur, actually, down there. So, -1 for the fortified space, and +1 for my elite guys. Comes a 4, and back he goes. So now MacArthur can be knocked out at this point, which is good. And then my last one, I'm going to use my last one. I'm going to go after the Chinese front for my last action with a +1 modifier. 4 + 1 is 5, so driving the Chinese back deeper into the mainland. Alright, that worked out pretty well. Cool. Not too shabby. Okay, so we go ahead and clean up here with the housekeeping. We remove the markers. And next card is Burma Falls. Excellent. Oh, I gained an oil. Good. That's what I need. 3 actions again. And modifiers. +1 against the British. -1 against Nimitz. Pesky old Texan. And +1 for prestige. Yeah. I need it because my prestige is pretty low for some reason. I'm kicking butt and taking names. Right. Okay. So I have 3 actions here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do my prestige first. So +1 modifier to that action. But I rolled a 2. Grr. Alright. Let me try and take advantage of the +1 modifier on the British. Now, of course, that will still end up as +1 because the +1 modifier is offset by the British fortified space, and then the +1 for my guys being elite gives me a net of +1. It's a 6. Hey, hey, hey. There we go. Back go the British into Burma, no less. And for my last action, I'm going to try and bring my prestige up. Now, why am I focusing on my prestige so much? Basically because, hey, it's a 6. Good. What happens is, when your resources hit 0, okay, say prestige hits 0, and you have to lose a prestige, you got to take it from one of the other tracks. You don't get to ignore it. Which, again, if all those tracks hit 0, stick a fork in you. You're done. Alright, so far, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing alright. Not too shabby. Next card. Invasion of New Guinea. None, none. 3 actions. Ooh, this is nice. I get +1 against MacArthur. And I get +1 for Army and Navy prestige. Well, I really don't need that. Whoops, forgot to clean this. Alright, do I go for it? Well, you know how it is. Go big or go home, right? Or, as we used to say when I played tournament chess, fortune favors the brave. So I'm going to spend 2 actions. Dun dun! 1 oil. Dun dun! Here we go. Let's do some modifiers. So, -2 for the red box, but +1, +1, 0. So all I need is a 4 or better. Come on, baby needs a brand new pair of shoes. Oh, baby's going barefoot. It's a 3. And I used up 2 actions. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. That made me think of that Twilight Zone episode. If you ever see that one with the guy that's obsessed with the gambling, the one-armed bandit, and it keeps coming back to him in his dreams, and it haunts him, and he goes, Franklin! Yeah, that's Twilight Zone most of the time to me is pretty cool, but that one is almost laughable. It's so cheesy. It's just like, Franklin! So, now what? Let's get that oil up. Especially since oil's only a 2, and besides, the U.S. subs. Oh, jeez, me and my big mouth. I rolled a 2. Especially since the U.S. sub campaign is going to come. Yeah, those footsteps you hear, that's the U.S. subs. That's those footsteps you hear. All right, next card. Okay, offensive by China, so the Chinese are fighting back. Oh, I lost another Army-Navy prestige. Grr! And I lose one, or Army-Navy, I should say, thing. I say prestige because that's what I think of, like with the elite and stuff. That's just my own terminology. All right, and I also lost a prestige, so that's bad. I get 3 actions. +1 against China. Woohoo! -1 against MacArthur, so no more knockout blows there. All right, first of all, yes, I'm going after the Army-Navy status with the first action. It's a 6. Good. Back to +1. Now, second action, go after China. That'll give me +2. Oh, 2 and 2 is 4. Pesky, pesky, pesky. Difficult Chinese. All right. And then I'm going to go after the prestige for my third action. Try to bring my prestige up. Dang it. It did not work. All right. So we clean up. All right, next. Indian Ocean Raid. Nimitz advances. But I didn't get in prestige. Yay! But I lost oil. Oh. I get only 2 actions this time. +1 against the British. And -2 against Nimitz. Nimitz with those pesky mosquito carrier raids that he was doing. Yeah. All right. I only got 2 actions. I'm really nervous about my oil. I'm going to start with my oil. And is Japan? Good, I rolled a 6. I should be nervous about my oil. I'm going to go after the British now with my second action, because the +1 modifier will wipe out the fortified space, which is a -1, and I've got +1 for my elite troops, and I rolled a 1, of course. Some days, it just doesn't pay to get out of bed. Alright, hey, the fall of Singapore. Good, awesome. So, bye-bye British, they retreat. I gain oil and prestige, alright. I get 3 actions, -2 against the British, because I guess the British fell back into prepared positions. Is that the rationale? I guess so. -1 against MacArthur. Well, that's okay. He's down there, but I would love to knock him out. +1 for Army and Navy. Okay, 3 actions. All right, action number 1. I'm going after Nimitz. I'm going to drive him back to Hawaii. Hopefully. 4 + 1 is 5. Success. Bye-bye, Mr. Nimitz. Okay, let's go after the Chinese, because they're starting to close in a little bit more. That's a 6. Excellent. Remember, 6 is always a success, no matter what. Let's see here now. What do I want to do with my third action? That's a good question. You know what? I think I'll increase my oil. Oh, 1. Yeah, well, guess what? I guess I can think I'm going to increase it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. If wishes were horses and oil was plentiful, the IGN would have ran wild. Alright, so that's that there. Okay, Chinese intervention. So here come the Chinese again, of course. Oh, I lost my Army-Navy thing. No, but I get 4 actions. Good. -1 against the British. Okay. +1 against China. Cool. +1 for prestige. Alright. Now, can you guess what I'm going to do next? I'll bet you can if you've been paying attention. That's right. I'm going to try and bring up my military with my first action. It's a 1. I'm still going to try and bring up my military. Oh, it's a 2. Okay, apparently I must have lost all my elite troops somewhere along the line. So, next action against the Chinese, because it's a +1 modifier. Oh, 6, of course, but that's good. And I'm going to make the last one against the Chinese as well. I'll grab them back. But 2 plus 1 is only 3. Alright, I could have done my prestige, I know. But early in the game, I think it's important to pound on the enemy and push them back as far as you can. Push them back, way back. New Year operations. Sugar, here comes MacArthur and Nimitz. Chester, Doug, what are you doing? Oh, my army prestige has fallen down again, and I lost some oil. Oh no, but I get 4 actions. Well, -1 against China and Nimitz. Okay. +1 Army, Navy, and prestige. But the only problem is, I don't know if it's worth the Army Navy so much anymore, because remember, I won't be able to use that elite die roll bonus. Let me focus on my oil price, because oil's kind of low. Dang, it's a 2. Going after oil again. 6, that's better. 2 actions left. Gonna try to bring my prestige up. I'm gonna focus on my resources for this particular turn, I think, for the most part. Good, that brought me up to a 4. My last action... let me do my oil again. I'll focus on my resources and get ready for the battle of Midway. It's a 2. I did not get it up very well. Okay. So that's that there. Alright, now, remove all these. And as I said, the Battle of Midway is indeed the last card of the early war epoch, so to speak, to use a Twilight Struggle term. So we have the Battle of Midway. Here comes Nimitz. He's all the way down in the New Hebrides, so he skipped Midway already. I lose 1 military. Or lose 2 military, rather. Lose 2 prestige. That's another reason I was focused on resource. And I lose an oil. -2 against Nimitz. That's not good. -1 for Army, Navy rolls. Alright. So I'm going to risk the Battle of Midway here. I only get 2 actions. So here comes the first one. So 2 actions. There goes the first one. Hold your breath. It's a 4. I don't think that changes anything. No effect. Grr. Alright. The other thing I'm going to do is focus on the oil. And I did manage to bring my oil up. Okay. So that's at least something. And that is the end of the first part of the game. So, at the end of the first part here, yeah. I'm kind of, yeah. I'm a little concerned. As far as, whoops, that got bumped. As far as offensives go, not too bad. MacArthur's pushed back, the British are pushed back, Chinese are pushed back. Chester's being, cheesy, so to speak. And my resources are looking a little iffy. So definitely not the start I had last time. At the end of the early war, I had MacArthur and the British in this box. Past glory. Alright. So, I will go ahead and end things here, and I will shuffle up my mid-war cards, and I will get ready to do that part of the game, which, not surprisingly, starts with the Solomon's campaign. So, we'll see if I can hang on to things here, but it doesn't look... Oops, I forgot to take this marker off, but it doesn't look so good. Alright, so, we'll see what happens in the mid-war. Maybe I can hang in there. So this is Tim Korchnor from Bare Bones Wargaming, saying I hope I don't have to speak to the Emperor too soon, and hopefully I'll do at least as well as I did last time, which was survive to the late war cards. Thanks for watching.